Hello and welcome to another episode of Dungeon Master 101. I am your host, DMG. I appreciate everyone being here today. First order of business is to thank Jarrett, Alex, and Chris, my first 3 subscribers to this channel. You guys are awesome. I saw your names, just went, it was awesome. I know that you could be watching several different channels. Matthew Colville has a great channel, incredible production value and filmography and information. Matt Mercer has great productions with celebrities. You've got dozens and dozens of channels that you could be watching. I appreciate you tuning into this one. Today, we're going to talk about some of the basics involved with running the game. As a dungeon master, you are the referee, but you are also the one who sets the tone. One of the best ways to set that tone is to learn player characters' names. It sets the mood. One of the things that makes it easier for me is to ask at the very beginning of the game to go around the table and have each player tell their character name and a little bit of background information on that character, so, what the other players can expect from that character, things of that nature. One of the reasons I do that is I dungeon master at a lot of gaming stores, conventions, new player tables where people don't know everyone. Now at my regular table where all the players know each other, there's no reason to do that, but I do that so that they get immersed in the culture of the game. So they refer to each other as their characters' names. They don't say, Alex, what are you doing? They say, oh, Rowan, are you attacking now? Do you have a healing potion? All that other good stuff. I also use the character names when tracking initiative, which we're going to talk about in a second. But here's a great tool that I use to start learning character names. This is another great tool that I found to help me learn players' names, especially at the beginners tables that I run a whole lot of times. So let's say that Ember is 1, her AC is 12, but she has mage armor, which makes it a 15. She only has 8 hit points. Her passive perception, however, is 14. And the great thing about this is it helps me keep up with, so if I've given them inspiration, I could just check that. Also, it has different conditions and a place to write notes. So let's say that Ember has been frightened. I know that she is frightened, which means she can't move closer to them. In fact, she might run away from whatever character that is. But Arhin is also there, and Aenor, and so on and so forth. And it just helps keep up with things. Now, this is for a beginner table or for a table at a convention where you don't know the players, you don't know the character names. This is great for this. However, for my permanent group, the group that I play with all the time, I'm going to have their names written in stone over here. And for the most part, same thing with their armor classes for that session and these other things. But I will keep this. Notice that I printed this out. I use a dry erase marker. This is a plastic sleeve. As soon as it gets dirty or it's hard to see through, what I will do is I will just switch out and put it in a new plastic sleeve. Absolutely wonderful. There will be a link down in the comment section is where you can find this and print it out for yourselves. Absolutely love this tool, especially for new players and new tables. All right, our next section is going to be talking about the Dungeon Master screen and dice rolling. The Dungeon Master screen is a great tool. Not only does it fold out and keep everything that you want secret, but on the inside, and I'll show better pictures of this later on in the video, there's information that Dungeon Masters need to have. And if, as you're looking at this, you don't think that some of the information is relevant to your particular game, you can actually tape over that and put information that you find more relevant in there. But the Dungeon Master screen is great for a lot of Dungeon Masters. Will use it to protect the information that they're sharing. They will roll their dice behind the screen, things of that nature. The only thing I use a Dungeon Master screen for is to put my miniatures and 3D props behind so that the people at the table don't know what what's coming next, so that when I pop out that white dragon and drop it on the table, there's a little bit of pucker factor, and which is exactly what I'm hoping for. I put all the stuff back there so that it's a surprise to the table. As for dice rolling, there's a little bit of controversy there. A lot of dungeon masters will roll the dice behind the screen. I don't like doing that, simply because for me, there's always the temptation to fudge the dice. Either the party is just waylaying everything that I've put on the table, they're destroying everything, and I want it to be a little more competitive. There's that temptation to go, okay, I know I rolled a 6, I'm going to make that a 16. There's that temptation. That's why I don't do it. There's also the reverse temptation. If you're just completely devastating the party during your session, there's a temptation to help out the party. I take that temptation away by rolling the dice out in front of everybody on the table. That way, if I roll 6 crits in a row, the whole party knows that I'm just having a good dice rolling night. There are other nights that I don't roll over a single digit. All that is out on the table so that the players know that I am being transparent and they know they can trust me. And plus, it helps me trust myself during the game. All right, initiative tracking. There's so many methods to track initiative during the game. Whenever there's an encounter, you're going to say, okay, roll initiative. Your players are going to roll the 20-sided dice, add their initiative bonus, and you're going to need a way to track whose turn it is so that Robert over there in the corner doesn't get skipped all the time because maybe he isn't a loud character that the Robert at my table is, but that's beside the point. There are several ways to do it. We'll go over those right now, and I will end up with the method that I use. You can use any of these. It's personal preference, whichever is easier for you, whichever makes the game run smoother and faster for the players. That's the big thing. I'll show you what I do at the very end. Some DMs use the DM screen to help track initiative. One of the ways to do that is to make clothespins to pin to the top of the DM screen with your characters' names on them. You can move those up and down according to what from left to right for initiative order. That is one way. My hands are so big that this is not a great method for me. I know a couple of DMs who use scraps of paper. So Roland is number 1 in the list, but then the bad guys are next. And then, Dublo is coming up next. So they will move these around based on whatever initiative for each round. This is a great way to do it. It gives a visual aid for players. It gives you a visual aid because, as you can see, the same thing is written on the back for the DM. I've had other DMs who use the battle mat to help track initiative. What they'll do is they'll draw a crude map of the table so that if Dublo is over here, I will put his initiative, and then we'll put Roland over here. Roland rolled a 7. And then the other 3 people, then also you can put the monsters in here. So let's say it's a Minotaur, and he got a 17. Let's say a wizard got a 12. And of course the kobolds got a 3. All right. So that's one way to do it. That way, every encounter, you know, you can go straight back and forth across. You know exactly who got what. That is one way that I've seen other DMs do it. It's a great way to do it, but I use the following, which I think is even better than this. This is a great little tool that I found online, and there will be a link in the comment section below about where I found this and where you can download it. But as you can see, it's got initiative order down one side. What I really like about it is it's got condition references so that you can, so if someone's paralyzed, you can go down there here and say, oh, they're incapacitated, can't move, auto fails for strength and dex saves, and so on and so forth. But it's also got a little bit of notes so that if someone, let's say someone is under Faerie Fire, you can put this beside their name. That way, as people, what I'll do is I will start on one side of the table, one combat round, and I will ask for initiative. And so Dublo is down here. Ripley is up here. Ilya is here. The monster's got like maybe a 17. The kobold's got a 5. And you can see that once again, all I did was I printed this out, I put it in a plastic sleeve, and I used a dry erase marker. And as you can see, it's starting to stain a little bit when it gets too illegible, or when it gets to the point where I really don't want to use it anymore. I'll just change out the sleeve and keep using this same piece of paper. The great thing about this is that I can change it every round of combat. The bad news is, as you can see, I accidentally erased part of the Faerie Fire, but this is great to help track initiative. And let's say that Rowan and Ripley both got a 25. I can say, because Ripley has a little bit higher dex, I will give her a plus and give Rowan a minus, so that I know that Ripley goes first and Rowan is second. Along those same lines, during the actual encounter, I will go ahead and announce to party members who is up and who is on deck. In other words, so they know exactly who they go behind, exactly what their order is, so they can be ready. That way, like if once Rowan attacks, once Ripley gets through with her actions, it's Rowan's turn. Rowan knows that he needs to have all his stuff ready, so they have plenty of time to go ahead and prepare so they can use their things. But this is my favorite tool. I use this all the time. Absolutely love it. All right, that was this episode of Dungeon Master 101. I hope that it was helpful. If it was, please like and share, subscribe. One of the reasons that I started this channel was to help myself be a better dungeon master by talking about dungeon mastering, but also help you folks out there become dungeon masters as well. And not only dungeon masters, but good dungeon masters. This is the last episode for this week. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode with more information. Thank you for watching. Go out and game with excellence.